We are live. Yes. What an ordeal. Anytime you try to do something for the Lord, there's always something to try to hold you back. But this is going to be really strong and really good. So I'm excited that we're here. In any case, this is a recording, so it's going to be available on your website, my website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. So Chantal, Pereira, and Sandra Gabriel together again. I don't know how to start our journey. Chantal was at my first wedding when I was 12 years old. We pretty much grew up together and then moved to different cities, but we still maintain our connection. And now we're making it even bigger and better because it's beyond time that we kind of let our voices be known and start to tell people the truth. I mean, we tell people the truth, but they don't really listen to us. But we're going to go hard this year because we don't want these same people coming back to us to work with us again and they haven't heard the truth. They can't say we didn't tell them the truth.
And rightfully so, we started to believe the truth too, because I think we went through, it's been an incredible journey with you. I can call you cousin, I can call you friend, I can call you sister in Christ, I can call you business partner, and through it all, it's like we've always been able to see the light that shines through everything that's put us to where we are now. So it's just been an awesome blessing that hopefully we can be able to share with other people so that that light will help other people listen and tune into. Yeah,
that's the whole idea. And like I said, don't come to us after you've seen the light with the same old problems. So the whole so this is called Let Your Life Shine, because we are strong believers that we are all put here to become the best versions of ourselves so that we can be examples to others who are watching us who also want to be a light in this world. They call us light workers because we have so much information and so much resources and tools to share, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. Chantal's been 100 years in her business. I've been about 100 years in my business, and we have a lot to share. And we feel like maybe other entrepreneurs can benefit by kind of learning about some of the hurdles that we had to jump through and the mistakes that we made so that you don't go and make those same mistakes. So we're talking about who we are, why we're here, and how we want to help. So I'll start with a little bit of my background. Who am I? So I'm Sandra Gabriel. I'm the founder of Gabriel PR and branding firm. And, my journey kind of started when I left Montreal. So Montreal is my hometown. I left Montreal to move to Toronto, went to school, started a business. The business is still going, came back to Montreal, and there's more opportunities coming. But what I found was that, you kind of get stuck in one place because you're always doing the same thing. So my thing is that I always loved working with startup businesses and small businesses because I loved taking something, raw and like a small seed and growing it into something bigger. Whereas when you work for a corporation, that seed is already as big as it's going to get and you're kind of just carrying out tasks. And when you have this, bursting bubble of creativity inside of you, working for a corporation doesn't really help because you're kind of following their rules instead of your own and not really letting your creative juices flow. So that's kind of how I got into having a business of my own. And then kind of moving more towards trying to work one-on-one with entrepreneurs to kind of help them get through the nuts and bolts of getting started. Some people don't even know what to name their business. Like I kind of had to take a step back and say, whoa, like maybe I should get some services around that. So ideally, my whole mission, my whole purpose is really about helping to number one is walking with entrepreneurs as they go through this entrepreneurial journey, but then also to really bring out these businesses that also serve as a light, kind of helping their light shine so that it could shine for others. So that's who I am. Why am I here? My why. So my why is actually in Isaiah 41. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it talks about the same thing, kind of leading people, helping them break free from these limits and these chains of feeling like they have to only do one thing or they're kind of caught in a job, helping people to see the bigger, broader picture, the bigger vision, because I think we all have gifts and things that we're good at. But how do you draw that out? So I think that I've been put here to help draw that out and help people to realize, like, yeah, you can actually have a different life. And then seeing kind of how the journey goes from there. And then on top of that, it's not easy. I'm not here to say, we don't have no one size fits all solution to starting and running a successful business. You have to go through the hoops and the hurdles like everybody else. But the one thing that helped both myself and Chantal was turning to the Word of God, and also turning to others who turn to the Word of God to kind of help you walk through it. So we want to be that hand that you hold, that person that you turn to when you're going to have those days when you might have a can of tuna in the fridge, a bottle of water. It's going to happen, but turn to us, say, Sandra, I just have this tuna. You know what? Fry up that tuna. Go and get some onions from there's ways to to be able to deal with it. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here to be a hand to hold and a sounding board to help you on your journey to entrepreneurship and through branding and everything like that, because that is not easy. Either, Chantal and I have lots of stories of clients who, by the time they come to us, they've spent thousands of dollars with other marketers and web developers and whatnot, and still haven't gotten what they're looking for. So we want to kind of help entrepreneurs to avoid making these big, large investments before they even know what they're doing. So that's why I'm here. And how are we going to help? Before I get into how we're going to help, I'm going to let Chantal do her introduction. We'll talk about some of the things that we offer to help entrepreneurs. Go ahead, Chantal.
Thank you. Well, I'm Chantal Pereira. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a business person, and I am in the corporate market as well. So I wear many hats, but I know along the journey of all of them, it's been a blessing to not only be tied to Sandra, both personally and professionally, but it's also been a walk of self-discovery. It's been a journey of trials. It's been working in different markets and realizing that whether you're a small business, a large business, you often go through the same hurdles, from that startup phase to being successful and truly branching out and having social value, having spiritual value. It's a journey. And one of the best things that I know within the last 20 years of my experience is that whether you're a smaller business or a bigger business, it started with that why, that deep down desire to want something bigger, to do something for yourself, and then to connect with people, to not only be lucrative financially, but to have something that's tied to your name that brings social change, that brings value, that brings profit. And through all of those pieces, it's been essential that not only are you true and honest to yourself, that you're committed to the journey, that you're committed to losing people along the way, gaining people along the way, but that you have an open heart. And I think the more that we established our relationship, and I think it really gelled once we graduated from high school and college, we both had that breath of, I want my own business. I want to be able to do all these different things. And for me, I moved away from Montreal well over 10 years ago. And at the time was very strong in the nonprofit world. So from nuts and bolts, understanding the funding piece to the administrating piece to the connecting and human resources piece to where I thrive in now, all of those pieces have their own intricacies that one has to be able to understand, that you have to partner with, that you have to evolve as a person. But I know the success side of it, and I also know the failure side of it, because I've worked with corporate groups that are no longer standing. Thankfully, I still serve on a group right now that is thriving. So with that, I've been able to use those same strategic approaches to help a business thrive. But I think as a wife and a mother and an advocate in the community and my own business person, there's a certain light that comes with that journey. And those are the pieces that I want to be able to share with people, because that's the stand-tested truth as to why people have longevity, why people find joy in what they're doing, and that they can have a healthy, thriving business along the way. So in a nutshell, that is who I am. The spectrum of what I do varies from strategic development to helping people find their purpose. So I've been blessed enough to be on the professional side and the personal development side, where I think they're married and they're tied together, because when you're able to understand who you are in Christ and the things that motivate you, that creates a hard line as to whether I even want a business or not. You can easily know whether I need to work for someone or I need to work for myself. And you start this own empowering journey of understanding what that's going to take. And then you have us along the way to be able to help you from the personal development side, but also from the professional side, because business is risk. And with everything that you take, you have to be able to step out on faith. You have to be able to be sound in the decisions that you're making, but you also have to be able to see who God appoints to you along that journey. So I think we're that complement of that spiritual journey as well as that business journey, so that all the blessings that are here for you, you can have here on earth, and it can be ethical, it can have integrity, you can find joy in it, and you can make money with it too, so that you can do the things that you really and truly want to do.
Yeah, and let's not forget the money making part, because obviously that's why I want to be here. But you know, my thing also is you know, not to chase the money, because I find that's where people end up in the most problems. They start a business because they feel like, well, I want to make money, or, you know, I want to be able to control my time and whatnot. And especially in branding, like I make a distinction between business and branding, because in business, like the goal there is to make money, but branding is like a movement. It's an experience. It's a feeling. It's something that, you know, it's a process, kind of like what people go through in terms of determining what their passion is and then moving through that. And it takes some refinement as you go as well, but it's a much broader subject. I remember I hijacked a Twitter chat. So there's this group called Brand Chat, and they were having a Twitter chat, but the host didn't show up. So I'm like, let me take over. And somehow the conversation got into Mother Teresa as a brand. I think I might have brought that up, and people were like, how could you call Mother Teresa a brand? She would be appalled to hear that. And I'm like, you know, essentially we're all brands, whether you choose to be a brand or not. From the day you're born, you know, scripture said we were formed in the womb. That means that you're a brand, and you were made and formed to be a certain person with a certain character and a certain personality, which makes up your brand. That's how people know you. They might say, oh yeah, I know that person, they are always dancing, or I know that person, they're always working. That's what makes up your brand. So that kind of comes out and it spills out over into your business. And now what does your business become? It kind of defines, you know, what your business is. So with all of that, it's like, you know, determining what your passion is, letting that flow out into the business, who you are, what your passion is, let that flow out into the business. And then how do you make money? You know, the money part comes afterwards. But, you know, I was watching a video with Alan Watts. It says, you know, go after what your passion is, and then the money will follow. A lot of people will tell you, you know, once you're going after using your gifts and going after your passion and serving others, the money's going to come naturally. But it really shouldn't be an expectation. Of course, we have an expectation of money. We have to live and eat and whatnot. But, you know, if you have the time and the resources to kind of, you know, pace it out, you know, what am I passionate about? How can I help others? How can I serve others? What's the real need in society? Then once you get all those pieces together, it's easy to say, you know, I can build a brand out of, you know, I love to cook. I could build a brand out of cooking or catering or something like that. Maybe catering for women in shelter or something like that, that will grow into something bigger than what you actually initially thought it was. Mm-hmm. So with that, so how are we going to help? How do we help? Well, there's Gabriel PR, of course, that's my company. But it's, I had one person tell me that they think my company is too big, too big for them. So on the one hand, Gabriel PR kind of works with the more established brand. We have brand management and we have strategy and there's design and development and things like that. But you could also work with me one-on-one. I have branding programs to help kind of just take the journey through, well, what is my brand and how do I define it, and getting to the bottom of who you are, which is really more Chantal's area, the life coaching piece and the life design and strategize, you know, combining personal and business. That's something I'm even walking through myself, trying to make that work, you know, as a person, but also as a business, because I've been all business my entire life, but I'm trying to dig out, you know, who the person is behind that. So that's pretty much what I offer. But again, Chantal and I have like a joint program where, you know, you can go through this whole process of designing your life as well as designing your brand and building your business so that you can be more fulfilled. Eventually you start to shine and you become a light for others, and then maybe even hand that over to someone else who's coming up behind you, because it's really about trying to be the best example in this world. Everybody's watching. There are people out there who want to be ignorant and say, oh, I can do what I want, who cares? But at the end of the day, you have to care, because it's really sad. I can't remember what I was watching, if it was a movie or a television show, but one older brother was, always in jail and whatnot, and the younger brother is seeing that, and the younger brother starts to get into trouble. And it's not until that the younger brother gets into trouble that the older brother's like, wow, I didn't realize how much of an example, I am, without even thinking about it. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we want to be a good example to the people who are around us, whether we know they're watching us or not. So that's how I plan to help. How do you plan to help, Chantal?
Well, I think the best way is to be a testimony and example in everything that I do. And I think with all the hats that I wear, it just comes with the role and the responsibility. Whether someone has the same lifestyle as me or someone doesn't, that doesn't matter. It's truly just being someone of character and honor that can help someone peel back all those different layers so that they can, one, be comfortable in who they are. They can commit to that work, because once you're there, that's half the battle. And then putting people in the right trajectory to say, what type of lifestyle and what type of business do I want to have? Because there's so many different lanes for that. Yeah. And then for us to partner and walk people through, not only using your purpose, but in which way is it going to serve? And once we determine that, that's the ultimate blueprint to having a successful life and having a successful business. I know for myself, I went from being a Psalms 91 person where I was doing things in fear. So I know, and I understood God, I understood the will of God, I understood faith, but I still had that fear factor in me. So Psalms 91 talks so much about God is going to cover you and shelter you. He's going to be able to crush serpents and lions with your little toe. And over the last 10 years, I've become an Ephesians 3:20 person, where I know he does exceedingly and abundantly above and beyond things that I could have ever imagined. When I started realizing that he appointed me to people, and some of the things that I was going through professionally and personally was because I was tied to things that just weren't of me and of my purpose. When I started to understand that and I started to let those things go, everything else lined up and got into position, whether it was where I work corporately, what I do in my business now, and even understanding the clients that I say yes to and no to now in my business. That was huge, because if I took too much into my hand, I couldn't service the people that God was appointing to me the right way. Yeah. And I wanted to do that for others. There's a specific equation, and it has to come with an open heart. It has to come with a genuine desire to want to put that work in place, but it comes within partnership too. So I think our partnership and our alliance is a little bit different, because we've known each other for so long. We've been able to shelter each other. We've been able to hold each other accountable. We've been able to get each other through difficult points, and we've been truthful. And I think that created some magic that is undeniable. That has had some really good outcomes in some of the people that we've already worked with. And I'm excited just to see what that leads to, because there's so much good work that has to happen in not only 2017, but in beyond. And I know that there are people that are going to say, you know what, I'm worth the work of figuring out what it is and who I am. I want to work with somebody that have already done this. I don't want to start the wheel over. I want to be able to do this in a place where I can trust people, where I can be honest about where I am, and that I can trust the information and my money with individuals who are going to guide me in the right path. And I think that's what we've done for so long. So I'm excited to see who that attracts and what we do from that point.
Yeah, I agree. I want to talk about pain points. Should I call them pain points or pain in the butt points? Because there's some things that we see with every client, and especially now that I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a vibration or because it's the beginning of the year or because it's a new year or what it is. But a lot of people, they want to rush to market. They want to do a million things at once. And again, it just doesn't work like that. I think I shared a video in my branding studio group on Facebook with Simon Sinek, and he's like, 2 of the most tumultuous things you'll ever go through is job satisfaction and relationships. He's like, people try to rush those things like there's no tomorrow. He's like, they come to a mountain and they see a peak, and that's straight where they're going. They don't see the middle of the mountain. And he's like, there are some parts of it that you can expedite, but at the end of the day, it's still a mountain to climb. And there's going to be, places, plateaus, you can rest, but it's really like it's an upward struggle. But once you get to the top, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but it's one of those things that you have to fight for. And we see a lot of impatient entrepreneurs. We see entrepreneurs who are doing many things. It's funny because one person that I follow on Instagram was asking about, having multiple passions. And I had to sit back and think about it a little bit, because I don't know if that there's such thing as having multiple passions. I think that we have a passion for something that can fit into multiple avenues. So for example, I'm a communications major, so maybe communications is my passion, but I can translate that into owning a magazine or a television station or a newspaper. Those are different communication vehicles. So I wouldn't necessarily say I have a passion for magazines. I love magazines, but it's because I can fit my passion into so many different things. And what people are doing is they're taking on all things, not really realizing that it's not really the road that they want to go down. It looks nice on the outside, and maybe it looks like it's a quick buck, like you can start it and make money tomorrow. But again, and you know what, I don't even want to discourage people who feel like they can start a business and make money tomorrow, because you can. If you have millions of dollars, yeah. If I had $1 million, I will be the biggest star in the world tomorrow. But when you don't have that budget, it's really a slow going process. You have to make the mistakes. You have to run into the horrible clients. You have to run into the horrible colleagues to work with. And you're going to have contractors. You're going to have the horrible contractors. It's all a process to teach you how to run things when you finally get to the top of that mountain. So, some of the things that we see is like the impatient clients. Come and help me out, Chantal, here. The impatient ones, the ones who are doing everything at once, the ones who don't know what they want. Every other week they're coming to you with a new, I have this thing and I want to do that. And and the worst thing is the ones who do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. Okay.
And I think that's in life. It's just been, it's a reality check, I think, for everyone when they see something. And we're in a society now that wants everything really quickly. Microwave, you want it done in 2 minutes flat. You want it to be flavorful. You want it to be fulfilling. You want it to be low in calories. You want everything. So it's really, I think it's that point in time when we realize, everything isn't going to be for everyone, but there is going to be that something that is for you, and it can transcend into so many different things. Because I think I was one of those people. I thought, I love serving others. I love being able to see the best come out of everyone. So I did it in HR. I did it serving in a homeless shelter. I've done it in a nonprofit area. And when you do all of them at once, you get tapped out. You have an unrealistic view of what progress really looks like, and then you have a burden. So now, just like a lot of people with business, they take on a lot at the same time. They're doing their marketing, their finances, they're doing everything on a smaller budget, and then they get tapped out, and then you fall on your face, and you think that you're the failure, when no, it was really your equation. And sometimes, a lot of times, people can go and Google marketing agent or PR or communication and pay thousands of dollars for people that they see on the screen, but they've never really had a relationship where that person understands truly what they're trying to get to. And I think being in a position where you're investing in your process and understanding that, and then understanding that past your process, you're going to have to commit to a program that's going to help you lay out your business properly. That's what transition, what you described as like that insanity mode for clients to where we're going now. And the blessing in that is being able to define and work with people who are committed to doing that, because I don't have conversations with individuals now that say, I want it right now, because I can't deliver that. And I'm going to do something. There's just too many pieces. And half of the time now, because I do just that segmented market of finding out what is it you want to do, and those starting pieces, that alone takes work. And then I call you and say, listen, I have this person, they've got it. They want to be able to build their business. How do we do this? And I think that trajectory has always rang true, but there are a lot more people on the end of wanting to do things instantly. And I think if people just slow down and realize, you know what, the businesses that are on Forbes tops lists have not been there because it was overnight. The individuals that have had a real social impact in this world or have made real change, was it because they woke up yesterday and just threw some salt on something and poof, it was there.
Done. Meanwhile, it's raw on the inside and just cooked on the outside.
So, and the thing, what I love about this now and where we are now is that we can actually have those kinds of conversations with people that will receive it. And and it's not that you're criticizing, because we've been there. There's often times when we said, how did we get here? Or what happened? And I think those moments when you share financially what can happen, when you can share spiritually what happens, when you share even mentally your thought process, and skipping steps because you saw somebody else at their peak, when you're really starting at the base of your mountain and you haven't even tied your shoes, it's your perspective. And it's just people realizing that there's time, effort, and money that needs to be spent in the beginning phases before you get to that place. And the people that have really maturely looked at that, received it, and committed to that work have been the ones that we've seen that have been successful. And that's in every industry. We've touched on a lot of different groups, and that same thing rings true every single time.
Yeah, everywhere. It's like no one, it's not different for any one industry than the other. It's the same principles apply for each one. And the other thing that bothers me sometimes is when I remember working with a client who they had just come out of a relationship with another provider. I guess they were doing like their coaching or something like that. And it's like they put the onus on you. So this is the other side of the conversation, is like, there's the entrepreneur who wants to have the business, but also be mindful of the people that you are trying to work with. Because I had this client come in and suddenly it's like they expect me to pay or make up for the mistakes that happened in the previous relationship with whatever provider. So they would say things like, oh, make sure this is good because I had spent so much with that person. That has nothing to do with me. I bring myself. It does actually put pressure, but I can't do anything more to perform at a level that you would want because somebody had done you wrong in the past. I think that's something. Go ahead.
That's where our partnership has worked, because people who do the framework before, they could do that brain dump with me and say, you know what, I've done this, this hasn't worked, this and that, and we reset the expectation. And I think every time that we've done that, lessons learned, is that it's just a matter of helping us to refocus all of those clients, because those that are stubborn or resistant to that, those are the ones that at the end of the day, whether it's working with us or working with anyone else, that's not going to change. But for those who say, you know what, I can't do this anymore, I've lost this, I've done this, it also opens up a window for us to understand where their loss has been, where their pain points have been, to reset, to recalibrate people, and then to put them on that path where now they can actually see a new light. And that light isn't saving people, it's just shedding some of the things that have caused them to be in that negative space or to be in that immediate space, and pushing them to be in a place where it's going to be consistent, it's going to be motivating, it's going to be purposeful, but then it also be successful.
Yeah, that's right. And then my whole new thing is that maybe so I've come to the realization that I probably shouldn't work with startup and small businesses anymore, because they don't have the budget. It's not realistic to say that you're going to do a few $100s a month, even $100 a month, with a contractor or a brand expert or a web developer, and get the real value that you expect out of it. You're better to try to do a lot on your own before you hire somebody, because we realistically can't produce much for you in less than a year. It has to be like at least a 1-year relationship. We have to get to know you. We have to get to know your audience. And again, these are not things that happen overnight. Like Simon Sinek says, relationships are one of the things that, it takes time to build and to get to know somebody. So I almost, it might be bad for my business, but I almost want to, as I start to meet new clients, say, are you sure that you want to go down this road? Because if your budget is going to run out in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, then it doesn't give me enough time to show you the value of what I can really do. Because a lot of clients that I've worked with long term, even after the first 6 months, just to, be nice, after the first 6 months, let's say they run out of, the budget runs out. Somewhere within the 8th month, I get a call from a TV station or something saying, oh, your client, it kind of comes afterwards when things start rolling, or not just that, if it's like a partnership that we're trying to do or customers that we're trying to get, you don't really see the results until after you've been in it and you've taken the time. It's, you have to really sow into it before you can actually reap the rewards of what you have put into your business. So I'm almost,
that's so true.
I'm almost ready to turn clients away. It might be bad for me, or at least try to coach them through the beginning part of it to say, okay, where are you right now? And where is it that you want to go? Okay, you can do this, you can do that. Because you and I know tons of tools and resources that people can use that won't break the bank, but they can still make some movement in their business until they're able to, contract out an agency.
Sustain it on their own.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
One of the most important things that my business mentor taught me years ago, she said, Chantal, does a tree grow overnight? I was like, no. I was like, why would you even? She was like, that's the same concept. She said, but there are some trees where you can walk away from it and 2-3 years you're looking at this 10-foot tree because in a shorter period of time down the road it pivoted in position because that's just what it was supposed to do. And I took that to heart with my own business and everyone that I talked to. I think now I'm in the space where, of course, you always want to be able to have a full volume of clients to sustain and to know that you're working and you're valid. But now the quality is more important to me than the quantity. And the blessings that have come behind that have been insurmountable, because to see a client after 10, 11 months at the place where they really need to be, and they realize that had they given up 3 or 4 months prior to, they wouldn't be having the income of what they're having, the lifestyle, or even the freedom to do other things that really is what they're positioned to do. Once people understand that value, there's no turning back. And I realize now, having those conversations, those deep dives right at the beginning will tell us what people are about, and it also tell people what we're about, because that's not going to change, and that commitment has to be there.
Okay, I agree. I see Daphne is on our chat. Daphne is actually one of my clients.
Hi, Daphne.
Daphne, do you have a question? I don't want to leave you out. Hold on, let me see how I can open the chat.
You know what's been interesting too while you're on the chat is how many referrals to people we've received from people who have gone that course. So I also know that the factor for people who say, I don't know whether I should commit for a year. That's a whole lot of work. That's a whole lot of investment. Not only does it reap the benefit for your own business, there's going to be other people that saw your commitment to do that and will do that too. And it's funny how I would want to say at least 6 out of 10 times, the minute that people commit to doing that, the funds, the resources, some other things pop up for that individual to help them run that course. But it was just them committing to that process and actually doing the work where it's like, oh, well, now I can do this. And they're seeing other things open up. And there's a pathway of when people commit to it and truly see the value in themselves and how to be able to sustain it. That opens up a whole bunch of other resources that I wish I could say was just us. But we know that there's, and that's happening in our own businesses too. So I think it's really clients being able to say, you know what, I want to be able to, whether it's with us or with anyone else, to say, I want to appoint myself with people who are going to be open, honest, and who are going to deliver. And then I know that stuff isn't going to happen overnight, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah,
and the awesome part with us is that not only do we make the journey great, I think we make it fun. I think we make it a place where people can feel comfortable, where they can share, they can bring people along their journey. And it's more about empowerment. It's about education. It's about understanding how positioning yourself with God can open up business success. And a lot of people don't necessarily see those pieces right off the bat. And I'm proud to be aligned with something that does that day in and day out.
And it's funny because it's like the moment that you take your mind off of the goal, like I did a Facebook Live last week, and one of the lessons that I had learned in 2016 was to let go of your vision. I find it's like we have these visions and we have these dreams and these things that we're trying to pursue, and I was caught up in it too. And it's like the moment I took a step back and I was like, let me be a little more lenient with where it is that I want to go, and maybe I should focus on something else. Once I did that, I felt like a world opened up to me. Like it felt like more possibilities opened up to me, and now I can see where there's opportunities coming in that I can do different things and still make money from it. And if we get too tied to one thing, like we could almost drive ourselves crazy with it. But when you open up and you say, you know what, maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something else out there for me. But I know a lot of people are really tied to the things that they want to do, and that's fine. You know, they have to go through that, unfortunately. You know, take that long walk before they are able to see some other road or some other direction that they want to go. So, you know, sometimes it takes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and sometimes there's those individuals that see it right away. They just don't see how to get there. So I've had plenty of clients that say, you know what, I wish I could commit, but I have this. Well, let's map that out. Let's save here. Let's do this because if it's that important to you. Let's seize this moment right now because your spirit is telling you that you need to move.
That's right.
The hurdles that we see, we have to move by, not by sight, but by faith. And that is putting critical things in paths where we've opened up things where some people let go of their cable bills. Some people just reduce their packages. Just sometimes it's the smallest things that just open up that effort and have allowed them to have not only the budget, but then realizing I have to think outside of the box. Right. So I have to trust people to be able to not only redo how I do my finances, but how I live my life. And that's part of the whole lifestyle change. There's so many different pieces to it that when they start to connect from day one and they realize that day 365 is going to be a whole complete shift. People will have more freedom, more peace of mind. And you have something that you can be tied to that is successful. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really about the journey more than the destination and walking through it. And as long as you have someone there to guide you, I tend to try to do things alone until things, you know, hit the fan. And then it's like, oh, you know, I need help with it, which was another lesson learned. It's like, you can only go so far on your own. You have to take somebody with you as you go. So we're going to wrap up in about 5-6 minutes. But before we go, we're going to leave you with some information on how to contact us, because again, we are here to be your guides. You can kind of even take the business part out of it. You know, what is it that you need to search within yourself, whether it's your family life, personal life, business life, to be able to get to that point where, you know, you can be successful at entrepreneurship. A lot of people kind of just jump into it, but really it's a process, and it takes time, it takes patience, it takes, I don't even know what to call it. You got to have that fight, you know, that fight inside of you to be able to keep going. But at the end of the day, it's about letting your life shine so that you can be an example and help someone and bring them up, you know, so that they can be as successful as you get one. That's that for that. So my website is sandragabriel.com. I'll keep it real easy for you. sandragabriel.com is my website. You can find all the ways that we can work together there. Chantal and I also have a page on there about our joint coaching and branding program. However, it's not live. So I'm going to be sending out a link on how to get to that page, afterwards. But we're looking forward to, you know, working with whoever. Let's at least have a conversation. It costs nothing to have a conversation. You can book a call with myself or with Chantal. And let's just talk about, you know, where you're at. Maybe business is not a part of it. If it's family, if it's children, if it's, you know, whatever it is, let's kind of talk through and help you get to where you need to get, you know, find your center so that you can flourish and become that light. We need more light workers in this world.
Absolutely.
Any last words, Chantal?
I'm just looking forward to it. I know we've had questions. We've had people that have come along the way that want to do the work. So I'm just committed to whoever wants to come on board to this journey. They know that they can trust us. They know that we can not only serve them, but they're going to serve a greater good that's going to empower their lives, change their lives, and change their lineage. This is a part of just changing generational growth too. So some of the things that we're instilling from day one are going to be positioning you for life, for business, for success, and then being an influence in whether it's in your home, whether it's in your community, whether it's in the business space. So I'm ready and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we need more positive influences in this world. It's not enough going around. All right, so that's that for that. For anyone who's listening to this live, actually there's no more live people, but for anybody who's listening to the recording, I'm going to also include all of how you can get in touch with us and links through email, as well as I'm going to put this on sandragabriel.com, and we'll take it from there.
Great, thank you.
All right, ciao.
Bye-bye.